All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chad Ganley, Assistant Director in the Career Center at Kutztown University and Membership Chair at PennACE. We're going to get rolling with our Fall 2025 Town Hall. We got a packed agenda today, so appreciate y'all taking the time out to spend with us. If you haven't yet, as I just kind of mentioned, follow us on LinkedIn if you're interested in some of the other things we're up to. As an addition, we'll dive into a little bit more of that professional development and other events coming up. First thing first, agenda. We'll hit on some PennACE membership highlights. We got some professional development opportunities coming up, grants and scholarships. We're going to give you a inside sneak peek to our annual conference, and then our featured speaker, Dr. Joshua Kahn from our friends at NACE, is going to dive in a little bit more about AI and career services. Some quick housekeeping. Please, if you can, remember to stay muted when you are not speaking, and also drop any questions or comments in the chat. We'll try to get to those at the end. And this is being recorded. We'll be sharing it out afterwards as well. You can share it with your colleagues. Just the first thank you to obviously all the attendees in the room, but our board of directors at PennACE for helping get this together. Many of you know who they are already if you're a member of PennACE, but for those of you who are not, you'll see some familiar universities, some employer partners, and some names on the screen of our board of directors. And also a big shout out to roughly 77 of you all registered for the event. We'll see what we get up to today. We're a little over 50 at the moment, but we're excited to have all of you join us. About 39 of you are members, and the rest registered as guests, maybe interested in PennACE, what we're up to, and hearing from our featured speaker on AI. All right, so at this time, I do want to turn it over to Jeremy Reisinger, our PennACE president, our current president, just to give a little bit insight about us. Jeremy, take it away.
Yep, thanks, Chad, and thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon. I have the pleasure of serving as the current president of PennACE. Not exactly sure how that happened, but I've really enjoyed all of my time being part of the organization. If you are still here to learn about PennACE, we are a nonprofit service organization that was established in 2002 due to a merger of two different organizations, but really we're here to support career education, career development, experiential education, and employment in Pennsylvania. We do that through many professional development activities like Chad mentioned. We also do it through different membership meetings, and really we're here to advocate for our professional placement of students and work with our human resources professionals just to get everyone connected and discuss relevant topics. And yeah, really have enjoyed my time in it thus far.
All right, thanks, Jeremy. Just some basics of our membership. Again, for those of you who are not aware, or those of you new to PennACE, we have a very low-cost membership. We encourage you, to reach out if you're interested. Individual memberships start at $75, and for a group of 4, $225. So what that gets you, we'll go into some of that, but we're going to keep it brief for the time. But just know that you can always reach out to myself or any of us at PennACE. We have the online membership directory. Currently, we're at 138 members throughout Pennsylvania, 39 different colleges and universities, and 8 employer organizations, all part of PennACE. The quote, I can't take credit for it, but I do want to say that I agree with it, is that the smaller size of our organization does make it a little bit easier to maintain relationships, to be able to reach out to people on a whim, you'll have connections. You'll be able to use our listserv to post jobs, etc. Just to connect. It really does make it easy. We do a conference. We do a lot of networking. We do a lot of professional development where you do really get to know each other. As you'll hear throughout the day today that a lot of us have been on the board or part of PennACE for 8 to 10, 15, 20 years. So it is a really cool niche organization. If you head out to our website, pennace.info, that is ideally where you want to get started. Again, for today's purpose, I'm not going to go into everything, but I do want to just highlight, some of the really cool things or tabs that you can check out about where jobs are posted, events. A lot of these you will need a membership to get into, but you can at least check out our upcoming events, our annual conference. We'll talk about our certificates, etc. But please feel free to head out to our website. All right, so we're going to start off just talking a little bit more about some professional development. Unfortunately, George and Courtney could not attend today, but they asked me to share a few things. They are our employer engagement board members about upcoming events. For those of you who are currently a member or planning on joining, we have a virtual holiday luncheon coming up in December. So registration will be opening for that shortly. We also do annual roundtable discussions. So this is a really unique opportunity. It's in person. We do one on the west side of the state, one on the east side at the same exact time. So depending where you're at, consider looking into these. That is January 16th. So these are, kind of a half-day conference style event for us to really talk about best practices, what each one of us are doing, how we are partnering with each other, what we're seeing in college recruiting. So it's a cool opportunity. So the West this year is at Duquesne University, and the East side will be at Lutron Electronics out in Coopersburg, PA. Again, for those of you who are members, registration will be opening shortly. And then they just told me to let you all know that we do offer several other professional development opportunities each year. The big one that we're going to start probably recruiting and talking about is our summer series of employers who get to talk to our career services staff members about what they're looking for, so we can help recruit or get our students recruited by them. So Heather, do you want to jump in and talk about certifications?
Sure. So we have been doing the certificate program for a couple of years now. All members get one free certification. You can pursue one free certification as part of your membership. So that's whether you're individual or if you're an organizational membership, the organization as a group for those 4 people gets one certification. Currently, we have Students with Disability Supporter, International Student Supporter, and LGBTQA+ Student Supporter. And we are working on additional certifications that we hope to offer next year. So you can pick one of those, you review the materials, take the quiz, and then if you pass with 80% or higher, you earn that certification, and you get access, which will be going out shortly to those who have already purchased their and earned their certification, access to some resources, some additional resources that you can use as a part of that. Your certification is good for the fiscal year of PennACE. So if you did it last year and you didn't do it this year, your certification is no longer active. You need to redo that every year. As a member, if you choose one, and then you decide next year, oh, I'd rather do a different one, that's fine. You're able to do that as well.
Great. Appreciate it, Heather. All right. Next up, I want to call up Steve and Andrew to talk about our grants and scholarships. Steve, you want to take it away?
Thank you, Chad. Yeah, I think I have the best position on the board because I get to give away money. How fun is that? So the last several years when PennACE has established their yearly budget, they have allocated $2,000 that is available for grants. Some years we don't give it all away. Hopefully this year we will, because we've given 50% of it away so far. So we recently awarded a $1,000 grant for a Berks Internship Summit, which is a collaborative effort between Kutztown University, Reading Area Community College, Alvernia University, and Brentwood Industries, who are all PennACE members. So our grants range from $250 to $1,000, depending on several factors. And some of those factors include whether it is an individual, one school or one employer doing the event and submitting the grant request, or if it's a collaborative effort between multiple PennACE members, as the one that I just mentioned. And it also depends on, is this a brand new idea that you are looking to implement, or is it what we call putting a new twist on something that maybe has been done before? So they'll range from $250 to $1,000. You submit your grant proposal to the grants chair, which currently is me. We have a grants committee. I have 12 people on my committee this year who are reviewing the grants. And the committee is going to either approve or disapprove the grant. And what I really want to highlight is that you do not need to be a grant writer to submit a grant proposal to PennACE. The grant guidelines are published on the website. Chad highlighted that briefly with one of the arrows on the slide that mentioned the website. So you can go to pennace.info and you can click on awards and grants and you can read the guidelines for grants. And if you submit the proposal addressing those issues that we ask for you to address in the grant, it will be reviewed. Sometimes the committee says, well, we need a little more details about this, maybe how it's going to be assessed or whatever the case may be. And we'll come back to you and we'll ask you for that. But we will review it and we will get back to you typically within about 2 weeks and let you know the answer. And if you're awarded the grant, then our wonderful treasurer, Heather, will cut you a check and send you a check. So please consider, if you are a PennACE member, submitting your grant proposals. They're based on the fiscal year, so July 1 to June 30. So I have $1,000 that I can give out between now and June 30th. That's it. Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Steve. Andrew, student of the year, scholarships.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. Like Steve, I also have money I like to give away, but it's more focused on our students. So, Student of the Year is something we started where we like to recognize the importance of internships and celebrate those students who have great internships throughout all the colleges and universities who are members of PennACE. So, how it works, we have applications that go out to all the universities and colleges, and students can apply for 4 different categories based upon their internship and their major and where they completed that opportunity. So those categories are business, STEM, liberal arts, and an associate's degree. So those applications go out, the students just fill out a form. They write an essay talking about their opportunity and what they did at that internship. They have someone from the university or college fill out a form talking about their achievements, and then they have their supervisor from their internship fill out and just recommend them and talk about what they did at that opportunity. So it's a really great opportunity for not only the students but the schools as well. And then if they are selected, they get a certificate, of plaque, and then a $250 reward for each category. So I also have a committee. We had about 10 people this year. We divide them into those categories. They read all the applications thoroughly and decide which one is the best based upon a rubric and a scale. We actually just announced our winners last week, so they were just notified, going to get those out to them, get those checks and certificates out to them here over next week or so. But look for that. That normally comes out early October. That's typically the deadline to apply. So look for that. But again, really great opportunity for the students not only to celebrate their internship, but get some money reward as well.
Perfect. Appreciate it, Andrew. And yes, one of the questions came in about these grants and scholarships. These are for member universities or employers. So they are specific to, here's my plug, get a membership, and definitely there's some money for you out there to apply for. All right. And then, one of our signature events is our annual conference. So we're going to give you a quick sneak peek on that today. If Nicole, you want to shine some light on that?
Absolutely. Thanks, Chad. I'm Nicole Feldhughes, and I am the current vice president. And with that role, I get the privilege of leading a really amazing team and putting together our annual conference. I have been attending our conference annually since May 2009. So this coming spring will be my 18th conference. So clearly, I am a believer in this event, not only for myself, but also supporting my team members here at Duquesne and attending as well. I really, truly believe, thanks for the reactions. Anyone who agrees with me on his, feel free to throw those reactions in. I really think that our PennACE conference is, and I attend lots of different conferences, but it's really, truly the biggest bang for your buck when you're looking for professional development, both in terms of networking and connections that you'll develop, as well as excellent content, right, that's shared from many of the people that you see on this call today. Typically, we have around 75 to 80 attendees, I'd say, on average. Sometimes, depending on the location, it's a little bit more than that, but that's pretty typical. And it's just the right size, right, for being able to build true relationships that really, year after year, when you're going, you're building those connections and you're finding the people, your people who that not just at the conference, but even after, that you can reach out to and ask further questions, or I heard you were doing this, but I need to learn more. And your PennACE friends are going to be there for you for that. So talking about this year's conference, we're really excited that it is at the Penn Stater, which is in State College, a really nice central location with lots to do. We do typically alternate locations each year, and at each conference we announce the next year's location. So I can't give that away yet for the following year, but this year's is at Penn State. The dates are May 19th through the 21st, and that's pretty typical. That first day is kind of our pre-conference, which we'll talk about in a moment. And then the bulk of the content is on that Wednesday and Thursday, which is the 20th and 21st. So the other nice thing about it is it's very manageable length of time. Right? So that away from the office, or thinking about hotel costs, those types of things. So again, all back to that biggest bang for your buck. You can do a lot in a short period of time. The committee has begun work on this, and we've developed our theme for the year, which is Purpose, Pathways, and Possibilities. We are inspired by the P in Penn State, right? So all the alliteration there, but empowering people for a changing world of work. We are going to put out a call for proposals, and typically that due date's end of January. So this year, the last day of January 30th, 2026. So start thinking if you're going to attend, if you have some ideas that you would love to share. Just the content of the session. We have a variety of speakers, those breakout sessions, those proposals, right, that you get to choose from. There's some social events. A really kind of fun tradition is our PennACE game night reception that in recent years, John Rindy, who's on the call, I saw his face, does for us an amazing job with that. So it's a really fun time to come together and share networking opportunities and the like. John, there you go. So the early bird rate, typically we'll kind of determine that in sometime in the March kind of time frame. That we, would want you to get that in. But again, really reasonable. The member rate is $325. The non-member rate, $400. There's some other price points. There's some other, discounts, graduate student rates and the like. But this is, kind of our most frequent rate. If you go to our website, you're going to find all of those costs outlined to you to take a look at. And when registration opens, we'll certainly let everyone know. But be thinking about that now. And then pre-conference activities. Is Chrissy on the call? Was she going to talk about this, Chad, or just me? Okay.
I'm here if you need help with the information. Okay. Nicole, the information is there, so we're good.
Okay. Perfect. Chrissy is our fearless subcommittee chair for our pre-conference activities. And this is really, a mix of fun and learning, right, that we've done over the years. So it might be tours, as she put here, to local wineries or breweries. We've had historic sites. We've done employer visits, depending on, the area that we're in, capitalizing on who's in that region. Our own Chad here does typically hosts a golf outing for those that have that skill set. And so, just really a lot of variety that happens. And that happens on that Tuesday. So that'll be May 19th. So if you want to come in prior to the conference, it really is worth your while. It's a great way to build those connections with other folks too. But obviously you can come in for the conference on Wednesday too. So we are like hard at work, with different subcommittees, putting all of this together for you. And I can assure you that, as always, it's going to be a wonderful time. So we hope you can join us.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it, Nicole. And again, our annual conference, is one of our, I would say, our signature event for PennACE. It's definitely a great place to reconnect with members throughout the state of Pennsylvania. All right, so moving on now, our friends at NACE, I would like to introduce you all to Dr. Joshua Kahn. He's Associate Director of Research and Public Policy at NACE. He is going to dive into their AI and early career talent recruiting. So give us a quick moment to switch up slides here, but Josh, if you want to just jump in with a quick introduction while we just roll.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Hi, everybody. I am very happy to be here with you all. I am coming to you from Costa Rica today. Normally, I live in Bethlehem. My wife is a professor at Moravian University. She is on sabbatical, and we have taken this opportunity to come down to Costa Rica. I also was down here for a conference. The universe lined up for us for that one, and we're down here for a couple of months. We've enrolled our kids in school, and we are living it up. So, with that said, occasionally the power and internet can go out. So we will cross our fingers and hope that does not happen in the next 20 or 30 minutes or so. But I do apologize if it does. With that said, yes, hello everyone. During our time together today, you're going to hear about all the ways that employers, career centers, and students are interacting with or using AI in this early career space. I'm going to weave together a bunch of different data sources from our various surveys to employers, colleges, and students in the next 15 or so slides. So with that said, hi, I'm Josh Kahn, Associate Director of Research and Public Policy. I've been with NACE for about 7 years. I handle a lot of our research on internships, experiential learning. I've worked extensively on our career readiness competencies, revising them several years ago, working on the study part, the science part of validating the assessment tool recently. And I'm very happy to be here with everybody today. So we are going to touch on AI in early career, AI use in career services, and then we're going to look at students, how they use them in their job search. So first, thank you, Chad. A brand new finding for us. We put this question or 2 questions into our job outlook survey, which we recently published. I believe it was about a week ago. We had a webinar on it last week, and I think it was published right before that. So we directly asked employers what % of jobs they are currently hiring for require AI skills. Now, AI skills is kind of hard to define at the moment. It could be like prompt engineering, like annotating data sources, right? So, but we sort of grouped it together and, they said 13% of their jobs are requiring it. And this is, what they put into job descriptions. And the 10% number is specifically for entry-level jobs. So personally, I thought these numbers would have been higher given the media coverage that we've been hearing the last couple of years. And this will kind of be a theme throughout the presentation. I have, when you compare our data to the general narrative going on in public discourse, our data will show that adoption or use is not quite as robust as some of that discourse may lead people to believe, including myself, right? Like I was surprised by some of these numbers. So yeah, there'll be a little bit of a sobering counterweight to some of the frenzy of the media coverage and the funding. Like there's bananas numbers going on out there about numbers being thrown at AI. That's what I think you can expect over the next few the rest of the presentation for the most part, actually. Chad, next slide. Thank you. Okay, so this is a finding out of an Indeed study that they did conducted with their own internal data. So you can see actually from about mid 2023, the percent of job postings with AI terms has about doubled. However, that raw number, that raw percentage is still pretty low. It's like 3% of all postings contain AI terms. So contrast that with the number I just showed you, about 10, 13%. And my explanation for that discrepancy is the jobs that our employers are posting with respect to the surveys, that we ask them about are sort of more on the professional side of the spectrum, whereas Indeed has like a much wider spectrum of jobs that get posted there. So I think that may help account for why Indeed sees an even lower number of their job postings that contain AI terms in them. But either way you slice it, it doesn't seem like AI skills are, being clamored for in all of the job descriptions that are out there. So just keep that in mind as you navigate, talking with parents and students and your institution about the appetite for AI currently. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, this is from our Job Outlook survey. We asked employers, are you replacing, right? This is sort of like one of the big topics. Are you replacing entry-level jobs with AI? Our employers, and I believe the N on this was about 180, 170. 6 out of 10 said, no, we're not replacing entry-level jobs. And then 25%, we're not sure yet. And 15%, like the remainder, 14%, said, we're having discussions about it, right? So our data, our employers do not say that they are at the point yet of replacing entry-level jobs with AI. Next slide. However, we do see some movement when we ask them about augmenting entry-level jobs with AI. Again, like a plurality of respondents, so the biggest number said, we're not sure. About 50%, if you add that up with the next category, said we're not sure or we're not augmenting it. And then if you look down at the bottom two categories, about 15% say they will augment roles within the next 3 to 5 years. And it feels like in AI time, 3 to 5 years feels like we could be in a very different landscape by then. I know that they are, like right now, when we talk about AI, they're mostly LLMs, right? Large language models. By the time we get 3 to 5 years from now, we could have a next generation of models. And so by the time that rolls around, we may see these numbers could be very different. But currently, not a ton of roles are even being augmented with AI. And again, this comes from our employers, which are manufacturing focused, insurance focused, finance, telecom. We have a large manufacturing base. So you can see that from our group of employers, it's not a ton of incorporating of AI into these roles yet. Next slide, please. So then we also asked our employers, this is not in Job Outlook, but in our recruiting benchmark survey, do you use AI to assist you in your recruiting operations? 21% said yes. So 1 out of 5, basically. But 22% right there, that red slice of the donut, said we're going to start doing that in the next year. So if you add those up, we're like around half are using AI in some fashion. Now, I do wish, I want to put a sort of disclaimer out there on this. I do wish we had included an option or like some way to account for employers that use ATS systems, because ATS systems are very similar to what we're calling AI today. So if we had included the use of ATS systems in this, the number would have been much higher. I think we're all pretty confident in that. But aside from ATS, we're looking at about 1 in 5 to 45% or so, if you can include that other red chunk of the donut. So I will say, though, that if we do go from 21 to 43 or so percent, and we do that in 1 year, that is a large shift in 1 year. So that would represent some pretty substantial movement over the course of a year. So from this year to next year, we may see recruiting operations have some significant use of AI in their recruiting approaches. Next slide, please. Okay, we can skip that one a bit. We're going to start talking about now how AI is being used at the Career Center level. All right, so in our career services benchmark, or actually my fault, I think this was in a quick poll that we put out recently this fall. We found that 76%, so 3 out of 4. So career centers have been quicker to adopt use of AI in some ways at their career centers. And with this question as well, 11% also said they plan to incorporate it next year. So at that point, we're getting up to 87%. We're getting up to like the bulk of career centers using AI in some way. Now, what's interesting is when we asked the same question in spring 2023, this isn't on the slide, only 20% of respondents said they were using AI in some way in their career center. So that really is a very fast move, a massive increase in just about a year and a half, because that was spring 2023. So I will say that career centers have done a remarkable job at incorporating AI into various services that they provide to students and even internally as well. Some of the ways that they use AI on the next slide. Some of the ways that they use AI with students, you can see here, right? It's some of the more obvious ways that you would think of, right? To help them prep for interviews, create a resume, cover letter, searching for jobs. So that's how they tend to use it with students, which makes sense, right? Those are a lot of the core functions that career centers are performing with students. In that quick poll from 2023, we found that a lot of staff were using it internally to help them write emails and things like that. Not any surprise there, but of those folks that are using it, right, 90% are helping them to prepare with interviews. So some pretty strong numbers in terms of like a majority of folks using it in similar ways. Next slide, please. All right, so there is a need, and we have heard this from several places, to provide workshops for staff, for students, and also not on this slide, but for faculty as well. We've heard that in various avenues that we interact with faculty. So about 4 in 10 providing workshop for staff. Another 18% are going to do that this year. So we're going to get up to about 60% there. 35% for students and 30%. So another doubling in a year. And about half of career centers are providing resources for students and another 25%. So again, we're getting up to 75% there on on the percent of career centers that are providing workshops across campus to various constituencies on how to use AI, in particular as it relates to their job search, searching for internships, writing statements for internships, and the like. Now, these workshops entail um, like how to use AI ethically, and also just like which tools to use, which tools are better for job search. As these tools are evolving, what we're seeing is that like tools are becoming more specialized, right? At the beginning, ChatGPT was like, you can use it for anything. And now as they're trying to improve these models, they're having to make trade-offs like, this model is really good for coding. This model is really good for writing. This model is good for, different functions. So that's part of what's going into the workshops as well. It's like if you're gonna, use Claude for this, use ChatGPT for that. And if you go to the next slide, we're going to transition to talking about how students are using and interacting with AI. And there on this slide, we asked students, how important do you think AI is going to be to the future of your career? And typically what you do in social science research is you can add up that fourth and fifth category, the very important and extremely important. And those are really the students that think, yes, like it's going to be important. It's like similar to the Net Promoter Score, where you really only look at the nines and tens, or the eights, nines, and tens. And so we've got about 39%, 4 out of 10 students think AI is going to be very important to their future career. Again, I assumed this number would be much higher. When we broke out the data to look at non-traditional students as well recently, for an article we're writing, a higher percent, it was like 55% of non-traditional students thought AI was going to be very important. So there are some differences when you break out and look at some different demographics, but overall, 4-year bachelor's degree students, I was surprised. I thought the number would be higher. So students don't necessarily think it's going to be as crucial to their career as, the general public discourse, the general media narratives are suggesting to us. And this was based on 1,100, this particular slide, these numbers are based on about 1,100 graduating seniors from across the country. So that's a pretty large sample, in political polling, they would say it's statistically significant sample. Again, somewhat of a muted response to everything going on. And when we asked students about the competencies that they gained through their internships, only 1 out of 8 students said that they improved their AI skills during their most recent internship. Last year, that number was 9%. That was the first year we asked it. And again, like I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot higher. But this does point to something that employers should consider, right? If employers want their workforce to come in with AI skills, then they should embed more opportunities to improve those skills in their internships, right? It's all about that talent pipeline and embedding the skills as early as you can if you want your early career folks to show up with those skills. So this was also about 1,100 students. And, even though we're hearing from executives that they want folks to come in with AI skills, it's not really showing up in their internship program, the design of their programs, the projects that they're giving to students. So, and this is reported by students too, not the employers. So again, not quite as robust as one might think. Next slide, please. All right, now we ask students, are you using AI in your job search, specifically in your job search, not in classes, not for homework, but specifically in your job search? 2/3 of our graduating seniors in this survey said they did not use AI in their job search. Again, didn't think that would be as high. I thought students would be more likely to use it. Um, Now, when we asked them, we asked the students that were not using it, why not? You can see the reasons here, right? They're concerned about ethics, ethical implications. The next biggest chunk said, I don't really know how to use it for AI, right? And so that's where the workshops come in from career centers that we talked about earlier. Another chunk, about 1 in 6, said, I'm worried that if an employer finds out that I used it, that they'll like ding me on my application and that'll hurt my application. So I don't want to use it because I don't want to get dinged for it. You can see data security issues, but then a lot of those smaller percentages toward the bottom, a lot of them, to me, if you sort of wanted to categorize them, a lot of them represent negative sentiment. So there is a chunk of negative sentiment out there related to environmental impact. There were a lot of folks, a lot of these came from the other, please specify type of responses. And there were some responses that were just like, and I coded these, and they were just like, I don't like AI. So there were a lot in using words like that. So, I mean, there really is some negative sentiment out there. It's people saying it's not accurate, it's not reliable enough. Um, Interestingly, about 7, 8% said, I didn't even think about using it. So there's really a chunk of students that are not really on the AI train. And I think that's important to keep in mind when you're serving students, interacting with students. And I wouldn't just go in with the assumption that all students love it and want it and need to use it moving forward, right? A lot of, 1% there said, I just want to do it myself. Like, I think that, people wrote out, I think it's important that I get these skills to do this myself. And, maybe later I'll use it, but it's important that I gain these skills and don't just turn everything over to AI. Okay, next slide. And I believe this is our last one. Yes, so for those that did use it, we asked them, hey, how are you using it? And again, it's the really common ways that you would expect. Help with a cover letter, prep for interviews, and to help them with their resume. Like very similar to how career centers are using it with their students. We offered even the same options and the results came out very similarly. So again, like those are the things that students typically think of for their job search, and the ones that did use AI, that's what they use it for, right? I mean, I think that's not very surprising there. And so we did also speak with some students last month when we held our webinar on student survey results. And we were able to get out a few more details from them. And they said that when they did use AI, the one thing that they really helped them do was to tailor their resume to specific employers. And it really helped them just save time doing it, right? It helped them like get out lots of applications. And we did also see that not pictured here on these slides, but students that did use AI in their job search submitted twice as many applications on average than the overall average of students that submitted applications. So AI was effective in helping students turn out more applications and save them time in doing so. I do think that students need to for sure be careful when they do that. I've received some emails from students and it felt like it was written by ChatGPT. And then like at the bottom, it was like, in brackets, like organization name here, right? And so clearly the student forgot to copy paste and like swap out and put the organization name in there. So definitely if students are using it, they really need to be careful with that copy paste, those types of errors and things like that. I think that could be a big pitfall and sort of just waste that whole application really. So, rapid fire. That's pretty much a lot of what we've learned from career centers, employers, and students about all the ways they're using AI and interacting with AI. And I think the overall theme is it's not being used quite as much as at least as I would have thought it was being used, um, given the news coverage and the general public discourse going on right now. So I hope that helps, and happy to field any questions, um, comments, any ideas for future research questions. I love getting those as well. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for being a great audience.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, if anyone has a question or two, if they want to unmute themselves real quick or raise their hand or type it in the chat, we'll take it. I know some of you may have to drop off. I know this may have been your lunchtime or you're going to try and cram in lunch real quick, but we got Josh here for a couple more minutes. So if you want to throw a question, I'll go for it.
Hi there, this is Tammy from Juniata College, and I am curious if you have any data points, or maybe this is a future research topic. For students who are using this to write cover letters and write their resumes, do you have any data points on how many of them are landing jobs, right? Because we know that making it past the ATS and getting, that is one thing, but right when they sit down in the interview, if it's really obvious that they haven't been the ones who have created these documents or can't support the things that they've submitted, do you have any data points yet on how, are they landing these jobs?
I think, as an offer to application ratio, I don't remember the actual number, but we do have a job offer, like an average number of job offers. Like when I quoted the twice as many applications, we do also have a job offer number. And as a ratio, it is lower than the overall average. So not as many offers. So they're not getting twice as many offers as the overall average, right? Right. So as a ratio, they're not doing better. At a raw number of offers, I think it was lower than the overall average, but I would have to check to be absolutely sure. But yeah, so I think it was a little lower than the overall average. But again, that sort of brings up that concern that they had that they would get dinged by employers, right? I think that was about a quarter of students that didn't use AI. That was a major concern of theirs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that validates kind of what I was thinking about it. And I also wonder, just as a career counselor, as we are coaching students, I always try to be careful too that their resumes are not in my words, because I'm not going to the interview with them, right? So try to strike that balance where they're representing their skills. But again, they're the ones that have to support it. And I worry, I love AI, I do a lot with it, but I worry about that particular use of it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid worry.
All right, we got one in the chat that came in. So have employers shared what trends they are seeing in the applicant pools from candidates using AI or not?
Yeah, we are hearing from employers that they are being flooded with applications and they can't keep up. They're getting, 5, 10 times the applications they used to be getting. And it's a real challenge actually for them to sort through these all. They've got workload issues, folks that would be screening through, even through the ATS. Once applications get through the ATS, they have, really a lot of trouble getting through them. So, it's an issue. It's a problem for them to figure out. And what I'm sort of concerned about is that we're going to get to a stage of AI trying to beat AI, and then AI trying to beat those AIs, and then it's going to be AIs talking to AIs, and we're going to lose a lot of the human element, which is so important, I think, in students and candidates and early career folks having job satisfaction, right? So one thing that we're hearing too from employers is that they're relying more on personal contacts and personal recommendations, recommendations from people that work at the company, and they're saying, "Hey, check out my friend that's applying," and they'll keep an eye out for that application, right? So the human element, I think, in an AI world, the human element, I think, is going to become even more important than it has in the past to help sift through the piles of applications that employers are receiving now.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Josh. I don't know if you want to plug out anything you all have going on at NACE. Obviously, a thank you to sharing your insights. I know your research staff has done a lot to get you this information, but any final words before I wrap this up?
No, just we thank everyone who's a NACE member. We thank you all for your contributions and participating in our events. I'm sure you receive our emails about various events, webinars, and such that are coming through. We do have some research ones coming up. I think we just had the competency symposium last week, but definitely keep an eye out, and we'll be happy to see you at any of the future webinars and events. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it, Josh. So let me just stop sharing here, and then obviously reach out to Josh if you have any additional questions. I have some information just to end on the day. Let me get my screen back up. We did want to throw out that Kim, who was originally, scheduled to speak today, did want to apologize, but also wanted to send a link, a QR code, more or less, for you to find all her articles, her resources. So this will come out. This was recorded, so I'll make sure to share it, obviously, in the next day or two. But if you wanted to scan the QR code and get on her list, please go ahead and do that. And then just a friendly thank you from the PennACE family. Here's some of my information that you can reach out to us. Membership at pennace.info will get directly to me. But please take a few minutes, head out to our website, check us out a little bit. I know many of you are members. There are a lot of cool things going on. If you missed those emails, just reach out to us, and we'll be sure to fill you in on what's upcoming. Again, just to wrap it up, appreciate everyone taking some time out of their day, maybe out of their lunch, to hear what's up and coming at PennACE. Obviously, thank you, Josh, with some awesome data from NACE. But at this time, I'm going to give you back the rest of your day. So enjoy. Have a good one.